What's up, Army? Welcome back to Redemption 46 Studios. I'm Nick.
I'm Keith.
I'm Curtis.
And I'm Zach.
Y'all know the vibes. Y'all seen the picture. Y'all seen the thumbnail. Y'all know why y'all here. Respect. Why don't you put some respect on our name and hit that subscribe button and become a real redeemer today?
That was a layup.
Also, respectfully take your nice ass over to the Patreon. It's going to be some dope content on there. It's Suge Day. Yugi,
Happy birthday, Youngie.
Happy birthday to a real one. We got RM on this track. Respectfully, they going to fuck this shit up. Let's jump into this.
Arm on the thumbnail, they look like kingpins or something.
Hip hop back. Hip hop back.
Love the OG
Hip hop
vibes.
Ladies, y'all getting respected in that.
Put your hands in the air. Put your hands in the air. It's like you don't care. It's like you don't care. Hey yo, Suga. 요즘 날 떠다니는 단어. 근데 요즘 뜻이 좀 헷갈려. 그걸 한데 누굴 자꾸 뭐만 하면 나도 잘은 몰라 브라더들들 알아. 분명히 사랑도 다 상위. 상위 어쩜 그 주제 상위. 내 존재 하고 있는 개념이 존경이란 거 알아.
Hey, respect.
자꾸 보다 보면 단점이 보여. 그럼에도 자꾸 보고 싶던 건 필요하지. 그 누구를 향한 완벽한 증명. 해서 난 도무지 쉽게 말 못해. 아득하거든 그 무게와 두께. 언젠가 당장에 말할 수 있게 되기를 진심을 다해서 내게 또 내게 또. 우리 영감을
The production.
Love that blending of their voices.
It's a respect. Only thing we want out of life is respect. Respect.
Production.
Sugar. It's lit. Boom.
Show rhyme scheme. Definitely like that addition of the vocals at the end.
Coming to y'all live from Soul. With Soul. Hip hop back. Put a little soul in your heart. You said, man, Suge, this track is dynamite. A little soul from Soul.
네가 리스펙을 하나? 모르겠습니다. 나도 모르겠다. 왜 이러십니까 리스펙? 존경. 뭐 다시 들여다보라? 존경. 존경.
You know it's real hip hop when niggas are talking via the track.
영어는 어렵습니다.
Thank you.
Respect.
Ironically ended the track with respect.
So
I have a hot take.
Respectfully killed this shit.
And I'm just going to say this. This is my take, and I'm done. Sugar ran RM off this track. Sugar smoked this, yo. Like RM smoked this too, but
Zach, we
Sugar,
not too far off on our.
like Sugar went crazy.
we not too far off
like,
on our thought process here.
like RM, he held his own.
Make sure y'all subscribe before y'all hate us.
It's not hate. It's
Jump
love.
on the Patreon.
Sugar, you. Oh my God.
I think it was. He kind of did a blend of what we were talking about on D1 with the whole like. I don't want to say he did this good thing of where at first it was like the approach like like kind of rapping and going, and then it got surgical a little bit. Like it kind of was like, all right, let me test the weed out. All right, the pack hitting. All right, now let me throw all this in the Dutch.
You hear the lighter flick?
The lighter flick went on and stuff like that. I felt like he just felt like more free on the track a little bit, and then like it felt like he got comfortable and then got settled in. But yeah, I'm probably not on the train with y'all where I thought it was that far apart, both of them. The track just worked overall completely to me because it kind of put you in that old hip hop setting.
Yeah.
It had a fire ass beat. The sound like this literally could have been baseball bat dragon with those those fire
Like
pans,
smashing car windows.
smashing car windows. Kids on the stoop like respect.
You got the trash cans on fire, warming.
Fire
like a little
barrels on the
winter
side of the
That
street.
video
is the
probably would
only
have been
light.
the opposite of it.
Honestly.
No, but respectfully, okay, so this is gonna be a thing for the night. I do like this, and I'm pretty sure this is probably like a SoundCloud type joint. I wonder if this is even downloadable, because they killed this shit. The pockets that they were jumping in and out of, how comfortable they sounded together. I'm
is
pretty
called
sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. To them, this probably felt like 2012 or 2013 again, with just both them like kind of going back and forth. But no, I like this a lot, man. This was different, man. This is kind of I do want more tracks from them like this right now, and I know that RM in particular, off of Indigo, has a different approach to music right now. It seems like what I mean, and obviously he had a story to tell, so maybe that's the thing too. But I definitely do like when they kind of get back to just pure hip hop, pure like kind of rap stuff, as opposed to melodic and just like those different sounds that they both kind of play with now. You kind of like when they just kind of get back to some real street shit, some real soul shit. So yeah, that's my take.
Some real soul shit. Oh my gosh. Okay. No, I thought the track was okay. Let me start off. Beginning of the track, I thought was good. Track turned up for me 100% when Suga came in. Very melodic, kind of. With the it's lit. Type of vibe, and definitely turned it up from there. Even the production changed a little bit for me, and kind of got me more into the song. Other than that, like the song was cool, but it was a solid song, but it didn't move me up until that point, and then after that, it was up. Love the lyrics. Love like the kind of like, yo, you say you respect me, but you talking behind my back. You're not being a friend. You're not saying it to my face, but you use the word respect. You kind of throw it around, kind of just carelessly.
It's ironic.
Without actually, it's ironic as fuck. And I was actually going to touch on this. Like it's really spot on the nose. But I thought that was a really cool take on it. As just kind of speaking, I guess personally from them as a respect aspect of it. Like I'm pretty sure, I don't know how old this song is, but is that Map of Soul?
Episode.
Map of Soul 7. Oh my god. So 2020.
Yeah, because it's only 3 years. It's like 3 years old.
Yeah, so like, but I know that sometimes BTS they'll touch on things that that happened in the past and kind of like not rehash it, but dwell on it a little more or go into a situation that maybe they're removed from now.
Look
So
back at it through a clear lens.
So like this might have been a situation where coming up from the underground, people like, yeah, we respect you, or once they became idols and made it big, people like, oh yeah, respect. When they meet the underground crowd or whatever, but don't think that they don't hear like all the stuff that's being said behind their back. Oh yeah, but they're wearing lipstick, or they're dancing on stage, or they're not underground. They're not real hip hop, which is ironic as hell. But that's another story for another day. But you know, it's like everybody has aspects of that in their life where somebody will say something and you know it's kind of not the truth because you know the real story of what's going on. But they throw out respect. Love is another word they kind of throw out there, like, you know what I mean, things like that. Brother is another word they kind of, or like family.
So would you rather have somebody love you or respect you?
I'd rather have somebody, I don't know, that's a good question.
You can love me and not respect me.
True, and I can respect you and not love you. So like,
I don't need to love sometimes.
some things you only do for people out of love.
I would say
that you
I
would
would say
never
love
do out of
personally.
respect. You know what I'm saying? So like from that aspect, yeah. But it's almost like do you fear or respect? It's like it's something is going to be lacking. It's never going to be a complete solution, no matter what you look at.
But I feel like even with love, someone can love someone and like still cheat on them. I feel like if you respect someone, you wouldn't cheat on them. I
Is
can
it
love you and
though,
still
if
lie
cheat
to
on
you.
someone?
If you respect me, you're not
Yes, Kurt.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, I think so, but I know some people might disagree.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Like, you
I don't
can-
know if
like,
I
you know,
personally
Like,
yeah.
what if some men logic? I didn't tell you the truth because I love you.
I didn't tell you the truth because I love you.
Yeah, I'm not.
Well, that comes back to the fear thing. Like, if I was
I'm not
afraid of
knocking
how
that.
like certain thing might be perceived or something.
Yeah. Just a good question. I'm just
No,
shaking the
it's
table.
interesting. It's interesting.
It's a very valid question, and it, like I said, it kind of dances around. Like I feel like something is going to be lacking. It's like you ever see the recycle sign? Like the arrow leads to the other arrow leads to the other arrow, but they all kind of
Think
go in a
there's something
circle.
missing
You
in
just
there.
going back in
Right,
the circles.
right. It's
Circle
like
of life.
paper beats rock, rock beats scissors. You know what I mean? You know
Yeah.
that sort of thing. Something is lacking, and the other one kind of picks up where the other one doesn't. I honestly don't know how to answer that. Maybe respect, but I know like
Yeah, because I mean, everyone wants to be loved.
everybody wants to be loved, but I think everybody wants, ideally, everybody wants to be loved and respected. But even if you love and respect it, if you're not understood, then it doesn't matter anyway. You know what I mean? So like something is always going to be lacking in the situation unless all things are you know what I mean?
Yeah, respect is just kind of like I'm not gonna say a funny term, but I feel like even in the song, the way like they were talking about it and stuff too, was just like, you know, you can respect me, but still curse or talk about me behind my back and everything. It's almost juxtaposed. It's almost feeling like it was maybe respecting my face, but when my back turns, things are
I think that's
different.
exactly what it was.
You know, so I thought that was very interesting, and now hearing that it's on episode 7 is actually very interesting with like a lot of things. Want me to bring it back for you?
No, I was curious if the title was in quote marks or not, or if that was the lyric version.
Oh, okay, yeah.
In other words, like respect.
Respect.
As opposed,
Oh, okay,
you get
yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean? As
yeah.
far as the
like someone actually saying, like being funny about
Yeah.
it.
that
But
could have been a title thing for this, but nonetheless, I was just curious.
yeah, but it being on episode 7 kind of makes sense with so many other type of themes on there and stuff, with things like, you know, ego on there and other kind of things on there. Kind of says like
Shadow. too,
screaming
right?
out.
No, that's
No, Shadow's on there.
okay.
Yeah.
okay.
Shadow's on there.
Friends.
O's on there.
Right.
My Time.
Yeah, my time.
On Black Swan.
Black Swan.
Yeah.
Persona.
Persona,
Make it right.
yep,
Dionysus. The filter. Louder than
That is
moms.
an album.
Bruh,
Inner child moon.
I said
Respect.
it years ago.
Yeah, he said it. He has been on that train since day one. He said he thinks this is overall like their best
Spring
album.
Day Train.
Yeah, but I didn't mean to cut you off. But
No,
more
no,
so,
no,
I
no.
was just asking questions. and
I was just like rambling and
yeah.
freestyling.
Nah, but it's BTS in particular does like a great job at that. Sometimes taking little questions like that and kind of just elaborating and working on it in a way that kind of builds on things and then kind of set up scenarios and things to get you asking questions and kind of just
The
being
right
like, well, did they
questions.
mean this? And,
If I could
yeah.
double down on that for a
Go
sec
ahead.
too, it's, you know, when the whole aspect of, you know, the album theme and everything, and you talk about identity and that road to eventually becoming, you know, someone who does discover himself. When you're looking at like the proverbial checklist of what it takes to kind of find yourself, You know, one of those things is probably one of those things is probably respect, where it's like, you know, like, do I respect myself? Do I love myself? Or any of these kind of concept things? And then, you know, to be able to dig deeper and be like, well, what is really respect? You know, and just, I guess, to kind of, not to, you know, step on your point or anything like that.
No, you go off.
But to briefly kind of, you know, mention that it's one of the things I really did love about RM's verse in particular. He bended the word as far as the wordplay of respect, and he's like, it's such a high concept thing, yet no one seems to understand it. Like, it's something that everyone blankly knows about in this way, but we don't ever really kind of, you know, seem to convey it properly, I guess. You know, whether for ourselves or people around us or whatever the case may be of how, you know, you interpret that. But the in respect, meaning to do again, like the English wordplay. So I think that was really interesting how he kind of bended that word, where he's like, you know, like, for, if you're breaking down the word for respect, it would be like to do again as like the prefix for re. So he's like, you know, where's the again? Like, you can't even seem to get it once, let alone the twice. And I guess that would be the reciprocation of, you know, respect or anything. But nonetheless, again, just calling those things into question.
Like, real quick, I'm sorry.
No, you're cool.
I'm surprised they didn't hit on the gamer term of respect. So, like, anybody who's ever played like an RPG, you put up so many points into a column, like strength, dexterity. I'm geeking out here. You know, speed or things like that. And whenever you want to respect, you take all your points off and you reallocate them as you see fit. I'm surprised they didn't.
Maybe we need Jim on the track for that. Jim would have been like, RM, I got an idea for you. No, that's honestly really crazy, though, when you think about that. And I think that it really does open up, again, another interesting kind of part as far as, like, you know, what respect could mean in kind of those degrees. But just to kind of briefly talk about, you know, Suge's verse and everything, I did really enjoy his verse as well. But it's weird because I thought RM laid the groundwork conceptually as far as, like, you know, getting your mind kind of on that train of thought or like down that sort of wavelength for then Suge to kind of come in and make it more personal to him, I suppose. As far as, like, you know, the friendship thing and respecting me, but talking behind my back at the same point. And the funny thing is, he even got to that place where he was like, you know, I do respect you. Like this person, I guess, that called these questions into him, whether it was someone who was, like, seen as, like, as you had said, you know, with the fake rap versus real rap kind of questions that they were throwing around. And granted, I don't know that this is relevant to that, but just using that as a brief example, like, where it's like, hey, I respected this person who kind of talked about me. I'm mad about it. I don't agree with you or anything, but, you know, as much as I hate you or feel a particular way about said, you know, situation, I mean, again, as a brief analogy, not to say that this is about that particularly, but I do think that's interesting where it's like, you know, I can still get to that place where I'm separating those feelings of respect to where I then respect you, even if I disagree or don't have that same. Because it's interesting, too, when you get into arguments with people generally, a lot of people, if you cross the line, they might say, you lost my respect, or something like that. So kind of for people to kind of get to that type of situation where it's like, you know, no, I still have my respect for you, but it's like, you know, or the vice versa side of that where it's like, you don't, you know, you say you respect me, but then can you respect me if you're, you know, saying shit behind my back, and just all those kind of things. So it definitely raises, like, interesting questions about it. But again, you know, it's so fitting with the whole map of the soul aspect, as far as, you know, that journey of self-discovery and kind of, you imagine there's a lot of, like, I don't want to say just trivial thoughts, but just kind of, like, you know, when you're kind of planning out, like, you know, conceptually what all this means and trying to reinterpret that. And I think it's cool because, you know how they say with songs you always want, like, a high concept or something that's going to be relatable to masses. So I think it's really cool to double down again on, you know, how RM had laid that groundwork, where he's like, you know, this is something that's high concept, but it seems to be something that's so foreign to people as far as, like, being able to understand or interpret or kind of utilize. So yeah, it's a really interesting kind of way that they juxtapose those two.
I think respect is a personal thing anyway.
Like self-respect?
Yeah, but it's like kind of like you said, you've lost my respect. So
yeah.
What might lose respect for some might not for others. Like, you'll have somebody do some foul shit and you'll be like, you know what? I respect it. Whether they mean it or not. You know what I'm saying? Like, whereas that would be a turnoff or a situation that would lose you respect. You'd be like, you know what? I respect it. Whether you respect the shadiness or whether you respect, like, the not being upfront and honest, like,
I suppose the intent behind it, as opposed to the way you went about it, maybe, sort of thing.
Love works the same way, though. You might.
No, that's why I thought that was interesting.
You you might buy a girl like some clothes or flowers and everything like that, and that be her love language, and she falls in love that way. You might support someone, teach them things and everything, and they fall in love kind of that way. Like you said, it's just intention really versus expectations versus whatever would equate to like all that.
It's interesting you brought up love language too, because as you said, like everyone, at least, wants to be loved, I would think. I mean, just generalizing that, of course, for the sake of conversation. But, for everyone like wanting to be loved, and how they break down like all the love categories as far as like, time and, presence and kind of all that stuff, physical affection, stuff like that. So it's interesting that those are all ways, just as a brief example to tie this back to respect, those are ways of expressing love, but it might not be someone's love language to where it's like, it's not going to have the most impact for me personally. So it's kind of interesting. I feel like I do wonder if there's kind of levels of that, levels of respect to that degree as well. Whether it's like, you went about it this way, but then, you were trying to convey this, but the way in which you kind of went about it, I don't know. It's just really interesting, though.
Just like, not to run on a tangent, because we were talking about love and like respect, I feel like are a little bit hand in hand. You might be in a situation where you're dating somebody and someone, a coworker might have spoke to you who's a woman, and your girl might have seen that and was like, I lost respect for you because you're talking to women in front of me, and you might just be like, it's just a coworker, versus somebody who might have blatantly cheated on his girlfriend and she still didn't lose respect for him. So I think the respect thing does change within each individual, depending on what line.
Admittedly, though, I do think that comes back to like someone for example in that situation could be insecure, where it's like, I don't want to be alone, to where like even if you did something wrong to me, I'd rather have you in my life than not have you and perhaps risk being alone again. Or feel like everything we built up to this point is lost, and want to kind of salvage that in a way. Nonetheless, though, I do, I get what you mean, but it's you would think that if it's like the coworker situation, if there isn't some degree of trust, then I don't know that it could ever be love or get to the place of love. But again, it's interesting to think about.
You said no trust in a relationship is like a car with no engine.
Can't run.
Just sitting in there and it won't run. You ain't gonna go nowhere.
In fact, it only runs downhill. Like, comments.
With that being said, make sure you guys always love yourself, know your worth,
Not really,
and always pick you first. I respect. No, respectfully, I'm ready to jump into the live performance of this. But y'all have anything else y'all want to add? Anything else you want to add about love and respect?
I like the vocal runs.
Rather respect.
You rather respect? Let us know in the comments. Would you rather have somebody love you or have somebody respect you? This is a very interesting topic. I feel like this turned into a different.
Well, it's Map of the Soul related as far as identity and kind of, so.
Yeah, I like that too with Map of the Soul. Just so many different themes of essentially, like you said, finding yourself and doing everything.
They even said the line in here with like the eyes and the iris, as far as like seeing me in you or seeing my reflection. Ironically,
He talking about. Talk about
who
persona.
I am in your eyes, essentially.
I think you said inner child is on there as well. There's so many kind of different things, like we said, ego. So many kind of different themes. It seems like about finding yourself, and just even that, the different routes and different approaches you take are the map to your soul. Like, you know what I mean?
And even the members having solo tracks on there is like what it means to this person versus what it means to either the group or kind of how it can transcend. It's really incredible.
This is a great reaction.
Yeah, even when you go into like the. Well, we're definitely going on a tangent, but like, when you go into like the solo songs, different aspects of each individual
Filter.
Well, yes, exactly. So, but like we talked about. I guess at this point it would have been yesterday. Even though it's probably be on the same day drop. Like Sugar's Shadow, like that's kind of always been his repeating thing.
It's been an ongoing theme.
J-Hope, even though it might not have been his repeating thing, but like he had the song Ego, which is another part of internalizing. J.K., who lost a lot of time in his childhood, his song was My Time. It was like definitely like an inner look to what that person was going through or how they feel about whatever. It really was like a map of soul. So I definitely like the aspect of that.
Ironically, even RM's soul, like my soul, but then like the city of soul and everything, and how he kind of walked through that as far as what that reflects on his identity and everything. Really interesting stuff they've been able to come up with that's really high concept but also really personal at the same time.
Yeah, yeah, I'm interested to see what they live is gonna be like. Definitely at some point do want to get into the songs we haven't done on episode 7, and to kind of have a longer discussion about just that album in general. Those the Love Yourself albums and a couple other albums and stuff too. But yeah, let's jump into the live performance of this. If y'all ain't subscribed, I don't know what's going on. It's the best YouTube channel on the entire planet. Best content, best reactors. We only going up from here. Join the Patreon. Let's get into the live version of this. It's still Suge Day. Let's go.
Happy birthday,
We'll
Young
holla
B.
at y'all.
Love y'all. Take care.
Peace.